Gianfranco Archimedes calls America's first sustainable city. I've never heard you say that, but I'm going to attribute that to you. Because it was Alexander Hamilton not too long ago that saw the falls and saw the future. And the future is sustainability. The future is preservation of our history. And you can't have history in Paterson without Alexander Hamilton, Fred, and you know that.
Absolutely.
Back on July 10th, 1778, Jimmy Richardson, I think you've told me this ad nauseum. During the Revolutionary War, Alexander Hamilton, aide-de-camp to then General George Washington with the Marquis de Lafayette, they were having lunch. Twice. Wow. Did they have Libby's? What was it? Cow tongue and grog. Yes, that is correct. That was on the menu. So, over that lunch, they discussed the future, and Hamilton saw what could become the first planned industrial city, and true to his word, he came back, creates a society for useful manufacturing, and in 1792, we have Paterson, New Jersey. And here we are, being true to our roots, nod to our history and our preservation. And we're so honored to have Zoe Baldwin from the Regional Planning Association to talk more about preservation and the role that Paterson is playing and what we also can do going forward to make sure that preservation is a priority not only in Paterson, but in the state of New Jersey. So, ladies and gentlemen, give Zoe Baldwin a warm Silk City welcome. Go get him, Zoe.
Good morning.
The way you wrote it.
Good morning, and thanks so much for joining us today at the Paterson Preservation Fair. As the mayor said, my name is Zoe Baldwin, and I'm the New Jersey Director for the Regional Plan Association. And before I begin, I just wanted to thank our partners today, Mayor Sayegh and the City of Paterson, Passaic County, New Jersey Community Development Corporation, the Paterson Museum, National Park Service, as well as the Council for Humanities in their support for today's event. And I do have to do a very quick shout out because there's a few folks that made all the effort to make today possible. And so I have a little shout out to Christina Cotta, Della McCall Fisher, Daciel Tillos, Kelly Ruffle, Elise Goldman, Gianfranco Archimedes, Heather Garside and the Paterson Museum team, and Bob Garassi and the NJCDC team.
Go Bob!
And so when people think about urban planning, they often think about roadways and housing initiatives. But we're here today to celebrate the planning, policies, and partnerships of preserving the Great Falls. RPA has been a long-time partner to the City of Paterson from our very first regional plan in the 1920s. We've championed the city and supported its developments. 50 years ago, we worked with the city to publish a report called The Potential of Paterson, which called for the Great Falls to be designated a national park. And just a few years later, it was 1976, and the site became a National Historic Landmark District. But we weren't satisfied, and in 2011, thanks to Bill Pascrell and the City of Paterson and RPA, it was formally adopted as a National Historic Park. And around 10 years ago, RPA worked with stakeholders like the NJCDC to develop a strategic plan to look at how the arts could be incorporated into our park planning and our revitalization efforts. And I'm so proud to say that that work and that vision was incorporated into the recently adopted Great Falls Neighborhood Plan, which creates a gorgeous vision and a pathway forward for this very area. And so Mayor Sayegh has done an amazing job building on that legacy, as you can see from the beautifully renovated Hitchcliff Stadium to the recent comprehensive parks plan and all of the revitalization that goes along with those efforts. And so as we at the Regional Plan Association celebrate our 100th birthday anniversary, it has been wonderful to revisit that rich history with the city and solidify the partnerships that make great places like this possible. So thank you so much and enjoy the day's events.
We're designating Zoe an honorary Patersonian. What do you think, everybody? I want to dovetail on some of what you said because it really resonated with the salient points that you raised as far as our history is concerned. Paterson has played a pivotal role in shaping this country. It really is. We talked about how we became less dependent on England economically, where we were agrarian at one time and then industrial. And as we move into the next century, Paterson wants to continue to be a leader. And I was telling my children the other day, Congressman Bill Pascrell and the late and lamented proud Patersonian, right, Jimmy? Senator Frank R. Lautenberg was also instrumental in getting this designation. We get this designation and we get a superintendent like Darren Bach. And I also want to acknowledge another former mayor, Lawrence Pat Kramer, because you alluded to 1976. It was June 6, 1976, when then Mayor Pat Kramer brought a sitting president to the Great Falls, Gerald R. Ford. It was raining that day, right? Yes, hard, right, that's true. And we got the landmark, and now we have the designation. And since then, we have an amphitheater at the falls. There's a river walk that's being constructed. The plan is also for a visitor center named for our founder, Alexander Hamilton. So, and I want to, Kelly, go back and tell our county partners we're proud of the work that they've done on the Wayne Avenue Bridge with the new lighting, with the new concrete sidewalks, making it more pedestrian safe. We appreciate the collaboration between the county and the city, but also the partnership, because Gus, Darren Bach is very fond of saying this is a partnership park, and indeed it is. So ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, our superintendent of the Great Falls National Park, Darren, aka Gus Bach.
Mayor, thank you. Thank you, Mayor. It's great to be here among those who share the mission of preservation as part of Saturday. So a lot of friends, a lot of partners. The mayor's mentioned just about all of you, so I really appreciate it, and welcome to the Paterson Great Falls National Historical Park. King Solomon has a proverb that a good person leaves an inheritance to their children's children. In the same way, preservation of our cultural heritage is what we as a people together leave to future generations. There are many tangible, educational, environmental, and economic benefits to preservation. We see right here in the foreground this stadium, which is very much going to be a testament.
I got it. Stadium gets me excited too.
I planned that. This is a testament to those benefits of preservation. By safeguarding our cultural sites, we pass down knowledge, we pass down stories and traditions to future generations. It is fitting that today we are standing on a prime example of that intergenerational legacy. This park is named after someone who, like King Solomon, saw the wisdom of leaving an inheritance to their children's children. Her name was Mary Ellen Kramer. And on this park entrance that bears her name, out here, you will see the arrowhead, the iconic symbol of the National Park Service. The National Park Service is in the forever business. And that symbol affixed next to that preservationist, Mary Ellen Kramer, on this gate means that we together as a nation have decided to set aside this resource and to preserve it for all future generations. That's the business we are all in. So again, here today, I just want to welcome you to the Paterson Great Falls National Historical Park, and to all of those who labor together to preserve our cultural legacy. Thank you.
That was good. He said he wrote that himself. I'm mightily impressed with that there.
I don't know.
And as Gus will tell you,
GPT.
as Gus will tell you, my family and I were big fans of the national park. As a matter of fact, last year we went to the world's oldest national park.
Yes.
Anybody know what the first national park is in the world?
Come on.
Come on! It straddles 3 states.
You got it, Jimmy.
Jimmy got it. Yellowstone National Park, 96% of it's in Wyoming. Then you got a little in Montana and like a smidge in Idaho. In fact, you go get French fries in Idaho if you want to experience Yellowstone, which is what we did. We have the receipts to prove it.
Wow.
And last week we were near a national park, about 6 hours out. It was the only national park named for a human being. I know I'm putting you to the test this Saturday morning. Anybody know what the only national park in the United States named after a human being is? I'll give you a hint. He was Darren Bach. Not yet. Not yet.
Thanks, Jimmy.
Anybody got quiet? I literally hear crickets here. Crickets. No one? John Franco's usually good like this. No, this is an obvious one. I'm going to tell you that he was the... No. Sorry, that was a nice try though. I won't repeat that one, but it was good. He was the 26th president of the United States, born in New York City.
No.
Who said that? That is correct, Theodore Roosevelt. I don't know what prize you're going to win, but at least you got that one right. Very good. But nevertheless, I'm sorry, I'm not here to like quiz you on parks, but I'm so passionate about that. And so is Gianfranco Archimede, because if it weren't for his efforts, along with the Friends of Hinchliffe, we wouldn't have a Hinchliffe. This would be a mall, or it would be residential. But because of his work preserving our history, and he's working on Vistas Park, which is the highest point in Passaic County. He's working on reopening the Great Falls Bridge. He's got a lot going on, and we appreciate the new quarry lawn, right? The river walk, which should be done by spring. I was there the other day, they told me. And they planted trees already. I saw that on the quarry lawn. So ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, someone who we appreciate all the work that he does, because it's very esoteric. It is Gianfranco Archimede.
Thank you, Mayor Sayegh. Darren, if you'll give me my speech back now, I'd like to get started with my comments, please. So, King Solomon, you sure that wasn't President Theodore Roosevelt?
Oh,
are you sure?
I think he stole it from
Okay,
Solomon.
yeah. Okay, I'll buy that one. But fact-checking Mayor Sayegh on the gate to the gateway from Idaho into the world's oldest national park, Yellowstone, will be my task this afternoon. To see if it's not the gate that's named after the president and not a national park, okay? So more to come on that. I'm joined obviously this morning by some of the greatest legacies and preservationists in Paterson today. It's my honor to welcome all of you to our ongoing legacy of preservation here in the city of Paterson. I'm very pleased to assist our partners, RPA, in their centennial. As part of the celebration today is to acknowledge their work. Thanks to Zoe's comments earlier. Zoe, thank you for being here. And also, it's hard to follow up on all the great facts that the mayor and Darren Bach laid before you with respect to our great city's legacy and preservation. Now, as the Director of Preservation for the City of Paterson for the past 20 years, I come forward in big shoes to follow, to fill, actually. And it has been an honor to be in the shadow of the great grandmothers and grandfathers of our movement that started in the 1970s, such as Mary Ellen Kramer, for which this park is named, and it's really fitting to have this event here today. I want to give a shout out to my fellow Preservation Commission commissioners who are also here. Maribel, we have Chair Kelly Raffel, Vice Chair Joyce Corbo. Shout out to you. Can we have a round of applause for their volunteerism? Thank you. And the many other partners that I work with all the time here, but we once in a while take a moment to acknowledge that none of this could happen without all of our great partnerships. So thanks for being here. It's really great to have this beginning to this great day, and we hope you enjoy the rest of the activities. Thank you.
Thank you. Gianfranco, you had like another 20 minutes to speak. I allotted like, no?
Not today, Mayor.
Not today. I also want to acknowledge, talk about a super volunteer who's really passionate about Paterson and the history. She was a cheerleader for Central High School, the precursor to Kennedy High School, Jennifer Renew. She always has, and go ahead, I'm sorry. National Park volunteer, that is correct. And she always takes a moment to educate our youth as to the importance of Great Falls, Hinchliffe Stadium, and Paterson overall in developing our country. So thank you, Jennifer. We really appreciate everything that you do for us. And when I was thinking about what you said earlier, she said her father was fond of saying Rome was not built in one day. And that's what I tell people. Let's manage our expectations of what we're doing here. We are positioning Paterson for progress, but I'm a mayor, not a magician. Exactly. So I don't have a magic wand. and things don't just magically appear or disappear, right? Commissioner Begum, thank you. From the Friends of Paterson Parks, Jasmine Begum, please. Round of applause along with Fred Artis. So Hinchliffe Stadium, as Jimmy Richardson will tell you, was opened in 1932. I think it was July 8th. July 8th, it was George Washington. They were celebrating George Washington. He's going to fact check everything I say. And Theodore Roosevelt National Park is in North Dakota, so nowhere near Idaho. But nevertheless, July 8th, 1932, it's opened up. Mayor John V. Hinchliffe, who had an uncle whose name was John Hinchliffe as well, and very prominent family when it came to breweries in Paterson. Am I right? Beer. Yes, there was a lot of beer here. And Hinchliffe opens up in 32 during the Great Depression. Quickly becomes in 1933 the home of two Negro League teams, the New York Black Yankees for 12 seasons and the Cubans for 2 seasons. But then so many memories, so many Patersonians played football, baseball, ran track like Jimmy Richardson for Kennedy High School, and then the graduation ceremonies. And the reason why I'm saying that is because for the first time in over 2 decades, there will be graduation ceremonies at Hinchliffe Stadium, and it'll be on June 26th, both Eastside High School and Kennedy High School. I'm going to throw in Rosa Parks too. Let's go. John Franco told me he wants to get his high school diploma on June 26th once again. The one he never got. Good job, John.
Finally.
Yes, he said finally. He was waiting for Hinchliffe to reopen to get his diploma again. But this could not be made possible without a man of vision. And from now on, we're going to say Hinchliffe is the house that Baye built.
Yeah, all right.
Whoa.
Baye.
And we're working on some other endeavors as well, joint ventures. So ladies and gentlemen, a young man from Paterson with a vision who made it come to fruition, Baye Adolfo Wilson.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Mayor, and the historical preservation community. We also have our architect here, Mike Hanahan. Why don't we give him a round of applause? Because Mike is the one who really sort of worked on design, sort of stuck through, and really was on the project when I got involved. My first experience at Hinchliffe Stadium was when I was 11 years old. Paterson had the youth games, and we used to have to compete to participate in youth games. And so I ran track here the first time when I was 11 years old. And
What school?
I went to school 26, but it was a track team club called New Birth Track Club. At the time, the legendary coach was a woman named Miss Jane, and a whole host of us went through. There's a gentleman that works at Eastside now, Joe Thomas, I think is his last name. So Joe Thomas was one of the coaches back then of the track of the New Birth Track Club, which we did our city competitions here in order to participate in these games. And so that was my first experience here. I really appreciate the opportunity to work on Hinchliffe Stadium. My career in this space started back actually 25 years ago. I had Zoe's job back in the 90s, late 90s, early 2000s. I was the New Jersey director of the Regional Plan Association, and really learned the importance of open space, regional planning, and how all of these cities throughout the New York metropolitan region really interconnect to really make New York and this region one of the more competitive regions in the country. And Paterson was always central to RPA's plan in terms of making sure that this city, along with all the cities in the region, contribute to the wealth and prosperity of the region. In that, I learned that, I guess it's sort of sad, but even though I grew up in Paterson, I didn't know as much about the Falls or the Negro League baseball growing up here. It wasn't until I actually left Paterson and went to school and was stationed in the Army that I really began a level of appreciation to the beauty that's in the middle of the city. This space is amazing. You have views of the city of Paterson, you have views of New York City, and it's all right here. And I really want all of the youth of Paterson to come, but also people throughout the region and the nation to come to Hinchliffe Stadium, to come to the Paterson Falls, to really to take in what we have here. I think it's a real opportunity for the city of Paterson to have more economic development opportunities, for more shops, for more retail, for more for the residents and tourism to come and enjoy. It's been a huge opportunity. We're not done at the Hinchliffe Stadium. We're working with Montclair State to open up a museum in the fall. Just this week, we have our first residents moving into Hinchliffe Stadium residential housing. We have the first 8 families move in. They'll be moving in over the next several months. So we have a few more months of work to do. But I believe that this stadium is also one of the centerpieces of the National Park, and I'm looking forward to working with the National Park Service and the City of Paterson in continuation to make this a more attractive destination. Thank you.
Thank you, Baye.
Baye. Just to elaborate a little further, Baye is right. So the Hinchliffe Residences, which is right over there, 75 units for senior citizens, 55 or older, and some have already moved in already. And I've seen some of the apartments; they get a good view of a game, and the falls and the city sky, the New York City skyline. And quite frankly, we're also encouraged by the fact we had the New Jersey Jackals here in Paterson, and I'm really encouraged that a lot of our schools have sent their students to watch some games.
We had field day yesterday.
They had field day. School 5 was here yesterday. I was so happy to see the youngsters for the first time in a long time, not just look outside their windows and see decay and decline, but they could actually play on Hinchliffe Stadium's field. And the museum in the fall should be open. It'll be our Negro League Museum in partnership with Montclair State University. And I'll give the president, the dynamic president of MSU, a lot of credit. He found an alumnus who was a Patersonian that graduated from Kennedy High School in the 70s, who graduated from Montclair State University, who donated $5 million for that museum, for educational programming. His name is Charles Muth. And in October, I believe we have a tentative date of October 26th. So at that time, the Mets will be playing the Red Sox again in the World Series. Did you laugh? That wasn't a joke, man. Oh, Jennifer's like correcting me.
As long as you beat them.
Yes. Really? I didn't know that. The mom was a school nurse. Charles Muth's mom was a school nurse at School 27 when Jennifer was a teacher there. Thank you for providing that information. And also, Baye, you talked about economic opportunity. You envision retail, restaurants, which is very important. So this becomes more of a draw. The City Council a few weeks ago approved our plan, and it's got John Franco's stamp of approval because I think the windows met to your satisfaction. 39 McBride Avenue across the street from Overlook. Our vision is for a food hall because we want dining options to be as diverse as our population here in Paterson, to also emphasize the multiculturalism that we're very proud of, and also a rooftop restaurant so that you can have a meal and look at the falls and Hinchliffe Stadium. So look, things are starting to come into focus. We're becoming a city of synergy. Our last speaker is representing the individual who was responsible, along with Senator Frank R. Lautenberg, in getting that national park designation. He's the longest serving mayor in the history of Clifton, and John Franco is fact-checking whether or not he's the longest serving mayor in Passaic County and maybe in New Jersey. But he's still only 39 years old.
You're great.
Representing Congressman Bill Pascrell, the former mayor of Clifton, our friend James Anzaldi.
He's always a very hard act to follow. I'm privileged to be here to represent Congressman Pascrell's office. Congressman loves his hometown. I've heard that for year after year. All these years we've been friends. And he's so proud of having been part of making this a National Historic Park. So I know he couldn't be here this morning. We all know that this was the week of weeks in Washington, D.C., and through compromise and consensus, we have a country that's together, and I'm sure he's very proud of his contribution there. So the mayor here is a young guy, and he's the next generation. I call him the next generation of public leaders because even though he thinks I'm 39, I'm a little older than that. I'm glad it's not 93, but it's about 20 years to go. But anyway, it's a privilege to come here and see preservation that's outstanding. It's something that I have a strong feel about in history, and after I leave here I'm going to the Dundee Canal Park in Clifton, on the Passaic River, which made us all something. The Passaic River was the lifeline of our communities. And we have a small falls there. So we have a group of people coming in this morning for volunteering their time to clean up the park. They do it twice a year, and it's really a nice thing. So on behalf of Congressman Bill Pascrell, in his hometown that he loves so much and he's so proud of, I say thank you for all the work that everyone has put into making this such a historic and wonderful place. Thank you very much.
I'm going to miss marching in parades with you, specifically the Peruvian parade.
I'll be there.
I know you will. Thank you. With your suit on, he marches on. Even I wear like a guayabera. So nothing else needs to be said, but we want you to say a few things. We want to take whatever you've learned here and share with other people. Not just the Theodore Roosevelt National Park that nobody knew about, but I want you to share the fact that Paterson prioritizes preservation, that Paterson prioritizes our history, and Paterson also prioritizes our future together as one Paterson. And so thank you for joining us, ladies and gentlemen. Enjoy the Great Falls. Today, Her Majesty is in her full splendor. And when the opportunity permits, please take a closer look at Hinchliffe Stadium and everything surrounding it. Thanks again, everyone. Thank you.